Hi, everybody. It's the award-winning CC and JT Amateur Hour with Report Production Value. Go die. She made me say that.
Well, it's true.
Hey, over there, CC.
And over there is JT.
If you're brand new to our experience, what we got going on here is we have two writers of a certain age who are self-published, have some books out there in the wild and out in the real world. We've got books on Amazon. We've got books in bookstore. We got books in libraries. We are slowly progressing. We're slowly growing here as a writing thing.
As a publishing company.
Yeah. We have some exciting things happening later this year and some exciting things happening next year. So we're pretty happy about things, how things are progressing, how things are evolving.
Mm-hmm. So as of the 30th, that was my 7-month anniversary of retiring.
Yeah.
So in the time since we've really committed ourselves to following this venture, pursuing our dreams, I guess, we really have made some progress.
Progress, that's the word.
Just as a heads up, it is Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. We did just have the time change. If you haven't yet changed your clocks, please fall back an hour. But if we're a little bit more fuzzy than usual, it's because time change.
Yeah, it's like 6 o'clock our local time. Well, it's 7. My clock hasn't.
It's just a little after 7 right now.
It's after 7, but it's like we're sort of.
Yesterday it would have been 8.
Yeah, but we've been up for a couple hours already.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
We, as you said, we've been making progress. We've been editing and writing books, and your book and my book will be coming out here. Maybe.
Well, mine will definitely be in 2025. You have one potentially
for 2024.
Potentially, we're still not 100% clear on that yet, but it's very close.
And again, much love to beta readers, man.
Yes.
Beta readers are so awesome.
And editors.
And editors and beta readers, just so awesome. So Thank you for everybody that's contributed to Zoe. It's going to be progressing here pretty soon to the next stage. So thank you. We talked about Zoe in a podcast a few weeks ago as to,
I thought it was last week.
It may have been. No, I think, was it last week, Nevada Day?
Oh, maybe it was the week before. I don't know.
But we talked about Zoe having the big plan, the big cover reveal, the big pre-sale, the big actual sale, and that just sort of blew up. And that's fine. That's okay, because it needed work. And it got that work. So hopefully it's a better book now. I think it is, and it's going to get there.
But once we release the books, I think our topic for this week is what happens afterward.
Yeah.
And this past week is a very good example of what you do after releasing a book, or when you release a book, or in this case, when you win an award for podcasting.
Yeah. Well,
is you have to send out press releases.
So several years ago, somebody I follow on Twitter, and it's never going to be somebody I follow on Twitter, who is a writer, said that writers should have press releases, press kits ready to go.
Yes.
And at the time, I was just starting the writing gig, and it was a part-time thing. It was a hobby way back, it just didn't. And it's sort of like I just sort of went pshaw, and it's sort of like whoa, big deal.
Yep.
But if you follow us now on social media or anything like that, you'll know that CC appeared in our local newspaper yesterday.
Yes.
Well, actually, in the weekend edition.
The weekend, yes.
And it was the press release that I did just sort of on the fly.
Yes.
And
because we honestly did not expect to win this award. It was the People's Choice Award, and even if you don't have the expectation of something happening, you should have the information ready to go. It doesn't matter, if you are participating in something, if your book is nominated for an award, even if you don't think you're going to win that award, have something written up. I didn't even have a speech written up.
Yeah, and so we're gonna just go through very quickly what we did. So, and so this is about press releases and interviews. because we also, as you probably are so tired of hearing, that we were, this immediate last Wednesday, we were on KOL TV, KOLO. You know, when I was a kid, the joke was koala.
Colo.
Yeah, but koala. But no,
We
I
always
was
call
telling
it-
my joke, not koala.
Sorry.
But we were on koala, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that too. You would think that being self-published and being an independent writer, you wouldn't need that stuff, but you know, real life happens. What did Ferris Bueller say? Life happens fast, and you better keep up, or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was very, life happens quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you, like, it's basically if you blink, you're going to miss it kind of situation.
So for the press release, and the press release that is on the website for this entry is almost word for word for the press release that we sent out to the Peel and to KOLO and Carson Now and other outlets.
Yes.
And it's still possible it will appear in those other outlets, though I think it's probably getting less and less likely as time goes by.
Well, and the reason for that is the timing, because we happen to have this release go out right before our big Nevada Day holiday weekend.
Right.
Plus, the election is coming up, so a lot of media right now is just focusing on the election and things that are related to the election. So you have to be aware of those kind of things too. If you're doing a book release, for example, and you want to get media attention, this is not the best time to do it.
Right. And it's also important to realize is that you will do all this work on this press release stuff, and it may never see the light of day.
Right.
Because as Cece said, and even during what you might call a normal news cycle,
Right.
you know, things may get set aside. So, you know, and also, you know, it's hard to, you may not believe this, but newspapers are not in the business of printing press releases. They're actually in the business of doing news. But we are grateful to the Nevada Appeal. We are grateful to Carson Now. We are grateful for KOLO for finding some space in their life to put us in there. So and we also need to preface this with a humongously heavy, large caveat is we're not PR people.
No.
We do not have any PR training at all.
And that's one of the things we're trying to do here, because we assume that a lot of people who are pursuing writing the way we are also not trained PR people, and that, you know, maybe by hearing our experiences, maybe you'll get a little bit more information on how to do it for yourself in the future.
So I'm sitting in front of the screen, the blank screen here, thinking, oh my God, I got to do a PR thing a PR release or press release on the fly.
Yep.
Having never done one, of course, having read probably hundreds, if not thousands, because we can't get away from press releases. You know, they come in all sorts of forms, and they're kind of sneaky. But it actually turned out, you know, it's just what happened, and then an explanation of the people that, you know, gave the award, that you know, produced the award.
Yes.
Then an explanation, then a quote.
Yes.
You know, a quote was, you know, from the winner. Seemed to be, you know, perfect. And I don't remember, did you give me something, or did I make that up?
You may have made it up, because you were doing a lot of that while I was doing other things.
So.
And really, one of the important things to remember when you're putting together the press release is you want to put as much of the who, what, when, where, why,
right, and
how.
that's exactly where I was going.
But you have to condense a lot of that in the first paragraph,
right,
because a lot of people won't read beyond that. And in, you know, depending on how much space is involved in the newspaper, for example, that may be all they print. So you have to do a condensed version kind of in the first paragraph, and then you explain more in detail later.
That's exactly where I was going, exactly what I did. Is you know, I announced what happened, I explained the impact, I did some quotes, and then I explained the company that gave it in more detail.
Yes.
And then I explained us. And then I attached pictures, which appeared two of the three pictures I attached appeared in the Nevada Appeal.
Yes.
And so it wasn't terribly difficult, but it's exactly what you said. You had to answer the who, what, where, why, when, and why, and all that stuff. And I think that even though I did it on the fly, I think it was okay.
Well, I think it turned out perfectly, and they the Nevada Appeal published it almost word for word. There was a slight bit of editing when it was posted on Carson Now, which is another one of our local outlets. And then I believe, KOLO published a lot of the information on their webpage below the video interview that we did.
Right. And when we got there, Katie was already up to speed on 2 more books.
Yes.
It was so cool walking into the studio and seeing CC and JT Amateur Hour up on one of those big screens. We got a picture of it. You've probably seen it and probably tired of that too. But that gives us a segue into doing the interview.
Yep.
Doing the interview. And one thing that we learned almost immediately is you have to have your set words. You have to have you have to be prepared because the questions are fairly predictable, though
Right.
I think Katie did a wonderful job in being prepped for it. And we were her 3rd interview.
We were actually the last of the group.
We were the last.
The 4th, I think.
I think there was 4 interviews, and we were the last of the 4 interviews. And I was impressed by her professionalism and the way that she was organized and the way that she prepared us. So that was helpful because and I think of course that was on purpose because it helps calm us down.
Right.
And she took some pictures, and so that was very good of her the way that she does that. So Katie, if you're watching this, we appreciate the energy and the effort that you did in preparing for our 5 minutes of fame. And you made us feel welcome and you helped us relax because I'm sure you've had people there just twitching. And of course, nobody would remember us because of the person before us.
Well, the 4-legged furry friend, Little Man. Hi, Little Man, wherever you are. You're adorable.
Yeah, we love Little Man. It was just a beautiful dog. But anyway, so back to what it is you need to have your talking points ready. You need to have your set responses. And welcome to CC and JT. And so thank you for having us. Something simple like that. We've all seen these interviews so much and so many times. So, and it's okay to have the talking points ready. And so be ready to explain, well, this was an international contest and there was, over 400, was it 400 entries?
400 entries in 38 categories with 15,000 votes.
Right. So it's important to have those spots. So when you're going to talk about a book or something like that, you need to prepare again with the who, what, where, and why. You need to be able to explain, what the inspiration was, the audience that you want to do, what you hope to accomplish with the book. Is it a fiction or a nonfiction book? Especially if it's a nonfiction book. What do you hope that will either change or support? So it's important to have these bullet points already set in your brain. And I don't think we did, and I don't think we did terrible. I think we did pretty much about expected.
Well, you were definitely probably more nervous than I was. I'm okay until the camera, you see the red light on the camera. And just as an interesting aside, there are no cameramen now. The cameras are all remotely operated. So it was basically us and her on the set, Katie on the set with a bunch of camera. And they look like big screen monitors just pointing at you with red lights that go on and off depending on which one is active. So up at the point where the red light turns on, that's when the nerves hit me. And I think you were actually previously there, but you kind of calmed down a little bit when we started talking. So you have to also be aware of your personality. One of the things that I've heard over the years is that most people are terrified of public speaking. And being on an interview like that is public speaking. So even though you don't have a group of people in the room, it's still frightening.
But you're talking about you. That's the thing, though, is you're talking about you. You're talking about the world-renowned expert on you.
Yes,
so
but you're still scared.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it is intimidating.
as you've said, writing is a very personal kind of activity that's done in a public forum. And this is very public because we know the reach of this television interview is probably, our local area, but that's still a lot of people who may or may not. We went out to breakfast afterward and we're walking through the casinos and they always have TVs on in there. And we're like, oh my God, were people in here watching us just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, it's,
it kind of hits you and it makes you very nervous. So that's something to be aware of ahead of time. No matter how self-confident you are, sometimes you do feel nervous in a situation like that, and having the prepared talking points, that way you don't forget what you're going to say when you get there.
Because there's important information that you're
Yep.
there to give, the Katies of the world, and also,
Mm-hmm.
through the camera, you're there for a purpose. You're there to give good information. So, if you do have those issues where you feel nervous when you're in the spotlight, and really that's a spotlight, practicing your talking points, what they called in job search classes, that 60-second me. Talk about yourself in 60 seconds. It's a kind of job interview, but it's more, candidly, it's more personal than that, because you're talking about something that you created that came from inside. And that's a big boulder you're pushing up the hill. So have those talking points ready, and be professional. And I think what helped us the most in that situation is we let Katie guide the
Yes.
conversation. She is the professional interviewer,
Mm-hmm.
so we let the professional interviewer guide us, and I think it worked out well. I think we're going to append the video at the end of this podcast.
Right.
Excuse me, not at the end of the podcast, but the end of the YouTube.
The video version.
So we're going to append it at the end of the YouTube. So we're going to segue right into that, so you can see what we're talking about. You'll be able to see that both CC and I are kind of twitchy. We're kind of nervous, and you can see that it was very easy for us to get a teeny tiny bit off topic, but Katie brought us back, and so it was just a fascinating, interesting thing.
Experience.
It was,
Yep.
and it was very valuable. Before we wrap up this topic, and this is going to be relatively short because we're going to leave enough time in the video to post the second video. Before there's anything else we want to hit on the PR thing?
Well, I think just to go back to the video, if you are listening to this podcast, the video is also linked on our website. So
Yes.
if you are not watching the podcast, please feel free to go to the website so you can see the video there. Because someone did comment to us in the past that we talk about things on the podcast that we're showing,
Right.
and we don't always,
Podcast it.
Yeah. So just to be aware, you can see that on our website. But from the PR standpoint, definitely be prepared to, you need to know exactly what you're promoting, why you're promoting it, why do people care, and that once you put that out there, that's what gets the attention. Because in this case, it was someone local in a small community won an international award, and people are like, "Oh wow, that's a big deal."
Yes.
With the whole not feeling imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. It's like
Big
it's like
case of
Cece's
imposter
reaction when she
syndrome.
won. It's like, "Are you sure?" Which is a classic sign of imposter
Right.
syndrome. But anyway, I'm sorry.
But when you're promoting that, you have to put that to the side and make sure that you are professional, that you boil it down so that people will, because people don't spend a lot of time reading.
Right.
Everything is in sound bites. So make sure you prepare the sound bites that you want them to hear.
Yeah, you are the expert on you.
Yep.
So but it can't be extemporaneous. It has to be practiced, and so
Yep.
and I think that it's safe to say that Cece and I will be going back sometime in the future as we books, because it was a positive experience, and we appreciate the Nevada Appeal. We appreciate Carson Now, and we appreciate Katie at KOLO for having us on. And we've just, it's been good, but we think things now should start to calm down a little bit. And we're going to talk about that just very briefly. This podcast lately has been talking about the end of the process.
These products
we have. Products, we've been talking about the, like the PR thing. We've been talking about this. And we're going to go ahead and rewind things starting next week. We're going to work our way back around to the beginning, because we've been so focused on the end, even though we are, as of January 1st, going to be an official company. So that's exciting. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the beginning processes. So we're going to kind of start over, because we've spent so much at this end of the pendulum. It's time to sort of get back to our roots. And we even talked about it in the interview, talking about grammar.
Yes. And it's, we are coming up on our 200th episode here in a few weeks. So we have done a lot of discussions about a lot of different aspects of writing. And over time, we're still learning. So things that we've previously discussed, we may know new things about those topics. So it doesn't hurt to go back and, revisit what we've learned since we first talked about any specific idea.
Yeah. Get back to our roots. Get back to some of the stuff we've done this because this is so much fun, and we're going to keep on doing it. Okay. First, also, Cubs.
Yay.
Cubs.
8 years.
We hit the anniversary this week. 8-year anniversary of the World Series.
The best World Series ever.
Best World
of
Series.
course, the Dodgers Yankees. By the way, congratulations, Dodgers.
Yeah, and good job to the Yankees.
That was quite a game.
You ran into a juggernaut though.
Yep.
You just but congratulations to the Dodgers. And, we're also thinking of the professor, and we're thinking of Tony, who are both right now don't have a job.
But, at that level, people know them, and it's more likely that they will get another gig of some kind. It may not be what they were doing, but they're probably not going to be out in the unemployment line.
Yeah. So Kyle Hendricks, Anthony Rizzo.
Yep.
All part of the 2016 team.
Yay.
Okay, we're kind of dragging this out, but we had to have a Cubs moment. Cubs!
Of course.
We had to have a Cubs moment. Okay.
Baseball,
man. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, stay on the line because here comes that video from KOLO. Other than that, anything else?
No, just stay tuned for future episodes because, as JT said, we'll be talking more about the nuts and bolts of writing.
Right.
And, if you have any questions that you'd like us to address, please let us know.
Yep.
You can always go to our website and just shoot us a quick message, and we'll talk about whatever question you have in a future podcast.
Yes, www.carsonhume.com. Okay, over there is CC.
And over there's JT.
Thank you, everybody, for following on. Thank you for, a wonderful few years of this. And here we go. We're going to keep going. Y'all take care now.
Bye.
Welcome back to Morning Break. We are so excited to have Cassidy Carson and JT Hume. They are local authors as well as co-hosts of the CC and JT Amateur Hour podcast, or should I say award-winning podcast. That's very, very fun to say. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the beginning of how you started your podcast because like a lot of people during the pandemic, you found yourselves bored. I did too.
Yes.
Except unlike me, who did like 6 episodes of a podcast, you guys have gone on for over 200, which is incredible. So let's talk about it. How in the world did your amateur podcast start? Cassidy, we'll start with you.
Well, we were both looking for something to do on the weekends, and we've come to enjoy our Sunday mornings where we have a cup of coffee and we just talk to each other, and we just discuss a little bit about our lives, and it was all very organic. We just decided to give it a try and enjoyed it.
And we were both self-published independent writers, and we said, we have this wealth of knowledge about writing, so why don't we try to share it a little bit with people? And it's gotten quite a response. We've gotten some great feedback from people and got interested in our books. So it's sort of fed on itself.
Wow, I love that. And then it's given you some national recognition as well. So tell us about the award you guys were just given.
That, again, was another organic thing where we were just browsing on the internet, and I saw this competition. I said, hey, you want to enter and see what happens? I think they had something like 400 entries in 39 categories.
Wow.
And it was, there were people from the United Kingdom, there were people from Australia, so there were international entrants, and we were one of the 39 winners, which was really exciting.
Oh my gosh, yeah, congratulations.
The Women in Podcast Award was an idea to highlight women in the podcasting biz, because the originators, the creators, felt that they weren't getting the credit they were due or the recognition they were due. And hey, it just took off from there. And CC, signed into the Zoom meeting, and heard it, and I could hear it from the other room that we won. It was just, yeah.
You screamed?
No, actually, I texted.
Okay.
I didn't want to disrupt anything. I just texted, we won.
She's so hard. She's like trying to play it cool. She's like, this happens to me all the time. But inside, you're like literally just like dying because you're like, this is so cool. Well, congratulations. I mean, that is huge. And it does recognize hard work. I mean, if you guys started this in the pandemic, you're going on 4 years of doing it. Yes. And I love that it started organically. Like you said, it started off as an idea and you had no idea where it would go. And now you've helped helped so many people. Because what are some of the things that are really hard about the publishing world? So many people have books that they want to publish, and they don't know where to begin.
Well, it is a lot of work to be an independent publisher. We do pretty much everything. The book covers, we go through a website called 99 Designs, and it's a competition. But the formatting and the writing, we market we
everything.
farm out the editing to an editing company, but then we have to format it and make sure everything will go up online appropriately. So it's, we are basically everybody in a traditional publishing house ourselves.
Wow, okay.
It's like the book is basically the tip of the iceberg, where somebody goes into Barnes & Noble or something like that to pick up the book and say, hey, this is great. What we do in our podcast is we provide, you know, guidance on the rest of the process, starting, you know, the writing, editing, grammar, everybody's favorite subject, grammar, and then the formatting, and then the marketing. We found a lot of success, like the show, by starting local and building up from there, and then going international with our podcast. And so it's just been a wonderful, fulfilling experience.
Exciting.
Yeah, no, that is huge, and I think you know, true success comes when you find a niche and a need, and then you say, I'm going to fill the need. You know, instead of just waiting for somebody else to do it. You guys did it yourselves, and I'm so thrilled for you guys. I mean, you're putting Carson City on the map, so congratulations on that. We love recognizing our local hometowns, but the fact is too is that you guys enjoy it. I can tell that you love talking to each other. You love talking about books. I mean, we could talk about books until I was blue in the face all day. Yeah, but I should really have like an entire show dedicated to it because I love it so much. So thank you guys so much for being here, for bringing your podcast to our fellow writers here in the community. And if people want to find out more about you guys, where can they listen to your podcast? And do you have like a website for them?
Yes, our podcasts and our books are all up on our website at www.carsonhume.com.
Okay, perfect. I love that. And I will put a link to that on our website, colotv.com. And then for your podcast, kind of wherever people typically listen to podcasts?
Yes.
Perfect. I will make sure that those links are on our website as well. Thank you so much, JT and CC. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll be right back.